Here's DrPuppets for with a new video. Actually, today I want to take my take on the situation of coaching in the West. A lot of people have been doing videos, commenting on Twitter for a while now, and I want to share a bit of my experience of 2 years of coaching and content creation in the esports section. And I had the chance to work with many teams of multiple regions like Brazil, both the Latin American regions, and AU, Japan, and Turkey. So basically, I could get a lot of experience in different levels, from amateur scenes to the premier leagues of their respective regions. So I could like take a glimpse into a lot of different things happening in the esports scene, and I hear a lot of problems coming up, like about coaching authority, what's a role as a head coach, what's a good coach, what's a bad coach. And I could experience a lot of different views from players and how they accepted me as a coach, for example. So I just want to share a bit of my opinion and also my experiences in this video. So let's start with, what do I think is a role for head coach? Like, in my opinion, head coach is a bit more than only a coach about the game. You really do be like, help people with solving problems, or helping them to find a way that is better fitted for them to get better, or just your team to make a better results in the end of the day. So you have, like, as a head coach, not only the job to give people jobs to do. Basically, if you have a staff team and players, what they can do to only not only prepare better for the next match, but also help to them get better. So as a head coach, you're like a maestro with an orchestra of people, and you have to conduct them on what they have to do, basically. So I don't think, like, on one of my experiences was that people didn't really respect me because they didn't think my game knowledge was on their level. But I think, like, it's for a head coach, you have, of course, have game knowledge, but normally you as a head coach should also focus a lot more on the rest sides of things, like not only the game. You should have actually focused more on the outside game perspective as a head coach, and let the game part be done by your analyst, your strategic coach maybe, and even your players. Like, get their knowledge and you put them in the right direction. Your job is not really necessary to be like, you're the guy with the most knowledge on this table. You're the guy that takes all the input, all the knowledge input, and just sort out what is actually best for my team and what's the best against the opponent's team. So I don't feel like it's fair to say that a coach in League of Legends should be, like a head coach in League of Legends should be the most smart person about the game. He should just be the one to make the smart decisions, in my opinion. Like, of course, it helps for you to have a good knowledge. It helps for you to be good at the game, to understand drafting a certain level. Of course, like, actually know when to talk and what to talk about with your players. It helps a lot. But in the end, the most important thing is that you know how to work with people. You know how to coach people. You know how to make your players better players and better persons. And also know what you need from your analysts and strategic coaches. I definitely don't think that a head coach needs necessarily to be the best guy on the table with the game knowledge. It sure does help, but it's not necessary. I think we are on the level in esports right now that we have multiple analysts working besides the head coach. We have strategic coaches, and we have lifestyle coaches being the head coach. So I think TSM does a great example with Wild and Green, and it's time for others also to adapt. If they don't think it's that good, I have to disagree here, because we can take a look in sports and how they do this in traditional sports. Like, let's take NFL, where you have like offense coach, they have defense coach, they have coach for this, they have coach for that. And in football, soccer, you have like a goalkeeper coach, you have a defense coach, you have an offense coach, you have your head coach, and you have a lot of other coaches around working with them. It's normally a staff of 5 to 10 people working only with this team. And I don't think in League of Legends or any other esports it should be much different. Maybe it doesn't need to be 5 to 10 people, But at least you should have like a psychologist. You should have a strategic coach. You should have a head coach. You should have like 2 or 3 analysts maybe, and maybe some 1 2 guys that also helps with like nutrition and sports based things. Like like you need also to exercise in sport. So I think like many of times people disregard that you don't have like enough people, and this should be something that we should look on to improve actually. And there comes the point where you have to talk about coaching authority, because like there's still the presumption that coaches need to earn their respect. Of course, they need to earn their respect at some point. But I can say from the jobs I had, like where people like actually trusted me and let me talk, even though they didn't disagree, like didn't agree from the start with my chain of thought and my thoughts about the game or how to play the game. They listened, and we got to a solution in the end. And those were the job I actually succeeded. Like I only had 2 jobs where I didn't succeed, in my opinion, where I didn't get my guys to play their best, to improve, or get the results we wanted at least. And so the one was where people rejected my ideas from the start and didn't give me even the chance to help them, or like to share my ideas or my thoughts about how to play the game. And one, I was simply not ready for the job. I did a lot of mistakes in this job and learned from that, and didn't do them since then. So I think like throughout my 2-year career now as a coach, analyst, and content creator, I had like very sort of mixed experiences in esports. And the most successful ones were the one where I had a backup from a management, the players listened to me, and everybody was able to discuss. Because if there's one thing I learned from the start when I started coaching, is that I will never be the smartest guy about a game on the table. And it's because like I don't play the game the same way my players will be playing the game. I will watch the game, I will understand strategics, I will understand analytical work, I will be able to analyze and coordinate them to better play. But when it comes to like micro things in the game, my players will definitely be better. So that's where I think like a head coach, should never be only focused on the game. And I suddenly came to the conclusion that that is the best when I most failed in my terms of in-game knowledge. So when I started coaching, I was definitely not ready to be a coach, and I think I'm not the only one that's passed through that situation. So I took the input from my players and worked it out and gave to them like guided them what we should be doing, and not like said we need to be playing this, and this. After when I got more experience and I knew solutions to certain problems, I of course could guide them or simply say, hey, we're doing this wrong. But when it comes to new situations, you have to actually trust your players. So your players have to trust you on your coaching. But when it comes like to it occurred to me with one team I worked and helped with that I was there to help them, and players didn't like me because I wasn't the coach in game that they expected. They expected from me like that I'm the smartest guy about in-game knowledge. Maybe it wasn't like on the level they wanted or needed to, but I wasn't there for that. I was there to guide them and help them as a coach. My job as a coach is not necessarily just say what's best in the game, but what's best for them to choose or to train or how to do it better, and find solutions for that, and not so necessarily, hey, this kind of thing you're doing in the game is bad. We should be doing this. So I think as a conclusion, coaching authority, of course, in a certain place, it needs to be earned, but also I think players need to be more open for that. In certain regions, I experience less players being open for different ideas, and I'm a guy that likes to change, try to innovate, find very niche ideas or even cheesy ideas that could be really helpful and tricky in best of 5 scenarios that and take the risks for that. And people necessarily didn't agree with those things from the start, and it's okay. I mean, we have all different ideas, but when it comes like not accepting from the start because you have different ideas, this is not gonna help anyone on the table, and that's where I think like most Western teams are struggling with, where people don't understand the org hierarchies and authorities. And it starts already from the management. If the coach doesn't have the power, the players have more powers. That definitely is still occurring in the West more than it should. Like, I mean, we've seen interviews about Korean players that played in A and EU, and they gone back to Korea, and I said like, there's a simple hierarchy, and if the coach says we have to do this, we're just gonna say do it, and they don't question it. And I mean, it's not bad to question things. It's just you have to be open to test them and then get feedback, talk about it, discuss about it with the coach, whatever, and find a better solution. But the thing is, if you start discussing things, you most of the times don't get nowhere. So it's easier to try them things out and be open for the solutions your coach is providing, and being able to do that, and then say, hey, it didn't work out, right? But oftentimes here in the West, I feel like people don't give the coach the hierarchy they need. So they would give like the player more rights than the coach. So you would say here, management, players, coach. So basically, if you want to earn yourself as a coach the respect you need, like your coaching authority, forget it. If you don't have the backup from the management, you can't get nowhere. Because if the player says like, yeah, I don't like this guy, I don't think he's very smart about the game, because he might not agree with your string of thought, and also you might also not be ready. But it doesn't matter in the end, because whatever you do, your player will have more power on the table. And if the player has more power on the table, it doesn't matter if you're good or bad coach. It isn't gonna matter, because like in the end, the player will have more say on what to do in the game. So you're never gonna be able to earn this respect, because it happened to me one time where the management just cut me off because a player didn't like one idea I gave. Like, they didn't think I was ready for the job. This after 2 days with them. And I don't think like it's possible for someone like to be able to judge that in 2 days. I mean, trials, you have to do at least 1 week trials. Because like you have to work around, you have to understand which kind of level are your players in, what do they need. Like, you have to understand that. I mean, you can see a lot in the first 3 days, but as a coach, you have to at least have a week to really be able to get to know the personalities, to find ideas of what the problems as a team are, what their personal problems are, also just to find what works best for them. I mean, even a week is a very short time frame for that. And if they don't even give you the chance for that, I don't think it's really helpful. And it's of course not able that a coach will be able to gain the authority he needs. So it should be already in org hierarchy, the way it works right now in esports in the West. It's not optimal for finding best way coaching solutions. And when players have more rights, because like it doesn't even need to be because he's more experienced or even the better player on the team. It's sometimes even also because of numbers on social media, sadly, where marketing in esports right now has a much more value than it actually has, like, if the player is really good actually. So I think I can imagine a lot of teams still run their orgs that way, because it's still a money driven business, and like any other business, you need to have money to be able to pay the players, and etc etc. That's how it works, sadly. And I think like the step that TSM took to like go all in the situation and try the best, not streaming as much and trying to solve and find solutions for the game, in-game problems. I think that was a very brave idea, and I think that shows a bit of their hierarchy inside the org, where like everyone has the support from anyone, and like the coach is there, he has the authority, but the players also want to push their authority forward. And I don't think like too many orgs have the situation where the players are also just giving the input. I want to be better, I want to win, and so I go on with the ideas. But I mean, if the players are in a spot where they can just focus on playing the game and don't have to really stream as much or do a lot of social media work or just marketing work, it's much better for them. So they can focus and they have more time to play the game, etc., etc. But that's sadly not how it works. So if there would be a solution, it would be to finally strategize how to monetize esports better. So org hierarchies could be implemented better. I think this would help a lot of things. But yeah, I think like solutions really and how to put a hierarchy in charge. I think if coaching the West should be getting any better soon, it should start from the works that they give the coaches the authorities and they give the power they need to be actually succeeding as a coach, and they have also staffs to work with. I don't feel like head coaches would be having a easier time anytime soon if the org problem still exists, and a lot of coaches will already have the problems with not having enough power if they are like the most knowledgeable people or not. I mean, we've seen a lot of situations this year where coaches had like the power and they could transform the teams into from mediocre bad teams to good ones. I mean, let's take the Ziggs example on CLG. He stayed there for a long time. People criticized him, but CLG gave him his trust. They trusted him that he is doing a good job. They gave him the power here, build a team, and they succeeded. MSI 2016. They exploded and were a great team coming to that tournament. Another example would be Splice. Yamato Cannon took a rookie team, and in 1 year, again, he had the power, he had the backup from the organization, and he could work on that. If he was only the only reason they got so far, we don't know. But he had the power, so he could have hired other people that would work with him to be able to do so. But that's the thing. Teams that are willing to get better at getting the next step have to actually give the coaches they trust, they need, the power. So the solution's right there on the table. And I think like coaching the West could be a lot better. We have definitely coaching talent here already. We have a lot of interesting people coming up, and there are a lot more talented people than we might think we know. But it's a more, I think, hierarchy issue in orgs that can be solved and should be solving a lot of the problems. So yeah, thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.